Hey everybody, it's Ashley Bissett Summerall with Telltale TV. I am super excited to be joined today by Hamza Fouad, who you might recognize from his roles on TV shows like Designated Survivor, Star Trek Discovery, Supernatural, and Arrow. And next up for Hamza is Helstrom, which is based on the popular Marvel comics, and that's going to be available to watch on Friday, October 16th on Hulu. Hamza, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Ashley. How you doing?
Yeah, of course. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm quite well, thank you.
Fantastic.
Little hectic, but good.
Little hectic, little hectic. We did have some hectic times, but we are good to go now.
Yeah.
And excited to talk about the series. So can you start by just telling us a little bit about why you're excited to be part of Hellstrom?
Well, first and foremost, it's part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and I've been a fanboy since I was little. My nephew's 10 now, and he loves it, and the way that all 10-year-olds do. And I grew up with Spider-Man and Iron Man and the Hulk, and just the fact that Hellstrom is connected to the Ghost Rider universe is something that is near and dear to my heart. So I couldn't be more excited to be part of that world, and then to be a part of the first foray into horror, having Marvel do something along these lines as a first, and to be anything a part of any first in this world is really exciting. And yeah, this just I'm really just pumped for everyone to see what we've come up with.
Yeah. And it is interesting because of that horror element. I think that's going to be a lot of fun for people.
Mhm.
Can you speak at all? So you're obviously familiar with the world. Can you speak at all to some of the differences maybe between the comics and the series?
Yeah, so the as we or as I'll tell you, the comic and the series is based on the Hellstrom family, and it's a drama at the end of the day. It's a family drama, and it follows these siblings that have to learn how to work together after a life of being estranged. That's the wrong word.
Estranged?
Estranged. That's the one.
Estranged.
There was something that happened in their family at an early age that caused everyone to split up, and here we are following them finding each other once again, without giving too much away.
Hmm.
And um, and yeah, they follow the family, as I've said, and what we've done with the show is taken a couple of creative licenses to be able to dive a little more here and kind of stray differently over here, and yeah, I mean, for the most part, where it's about a family coming back together, and the drama that is going to ensue after that.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, and those are the best stories, right? Are the ones that have kind of that element at the core, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Anything with heart, anything with family, I'm
Hmm.
definitely interested in, and then add the fact that there's some demons and there's some
Right.
powers, and it's a comic. It's based off of a comic, so it's gonna be a lot of fun.
So, talk a little bit about what it's like to film a show with these fantasy and supernatural elements.
Well, what I loved about filming this is how grounded everything was. You think of Marvel and you think of the Avengers and all these green screens and everything like that. At least my experience when I was on set, everything was set in reality. All of our sets were real. I personally didn't experience any green screening. I'm sure there would be, in and out, in and around all the other scenes, but my personal experience was everything was just grounded and in reality. So that's what I loved about shooting that. What was an interesting thing about shooting this type of project, though, is my first time taking part in something so secretive and so big, because Marvel likes to keep everything close to the chest.
Hmm.
So I would get sides for my scenes and nothing else. So I'd have to come in with very minimal information, show up, try and talk to the writers, get their information, talk to the other co-stars, talk to some other actors. And every single person I spoke to, there was only so much they can give me. So that was definitely a challenge, but a really fun challenge to take part in because, according to the writers and everybody else, we were on the right lane. So I'm so excited to see what we've all come up with.
Yeah, I can't imagine how difficult that must be to not be able to really see, the other parts of it. I think that's so
Yeah.
interesting.
but it just adds to the excitement. So if everyone out there is excited, imagine how excited we are to finally see what all these other pieces together look like
Hmm.
in one story.
So will you watch when the show premieres then? Like,
100%.
yeah,
Oh yeah, I'm having a watch party with me and my lady, and that's
fantastic.
that's gonna be great.
So fun, so fun. And so, okay, now I'm gonna guess that you can't tell us a lot, but tell us a little bit about your character.
Yeah, yeah. I play a character by the name of Derek Jackson. I'm a police officer in San Francisco, and I have a very close relationship with one of the characters. Yeah,
Okay, okay,
yeah.
okay.
It'll be interesting to see what I can talk about now versus after
Right,
this comes out.
right, right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, that's always a totally different sort of a conversation that you can kind of have. So, police officer with an important relationship.
Important relationship with one of the main characters. In every type of show that involves, sleuthing, detective work, having to find, spiritual elements in this storyline of the Helstrom siblings trying to find the bad guys. There's got to be some sort of human element to it, and I think I play that human element of at least the law enforcement side. Yeah.
So that's interesting to know. And is there anything, without giving, obviously, without giving too much away, is there anything that you did to kind of make that character your own, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with every character we get, we have to find a little bit of ourselves in him or in them. And for this character, the breakdown was that he was very loving, big heart, very, very honorable, but you don't want to cross what's his, just treat him with respect, he's going to give you respect type of vibe. And that's me in a nutshell at the end of the day. So it was really easy to kind of fall into this character and be able to find the elements of myself that I could pepper into the lines and pepper into this man in himself. And yeah, just a lot of heart, a lot of heart.
With this being this sort of supernatural fantasy series, this is something that's really popular right now. It's, I think, maybe an important form of escape right now for people.
Yeah, yeah.
Why do you think that's something that audiences are so interested in?
I think it goes back to the origins of storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
There's good versus evil. There's the even down to Greek mythology those days. That was their heroes that they looked up to, and that is as early as we can write. We were telling these stories, and what I think the supernatural and the comic book world is doing is it's our version and our rendition of these classic tales, and it's a story literally as old as time. So I believe that's why we just are so drawn to this genre of storytelling. It's these are our heroes. These are our Herculeses, our Achilles, our Jasons, so on and so forth. These are the stories that are going to be passed down generations and generations from now, which is actually kind of crazy to stop and think about, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm telling my nephew origin stories of his favorite superheroes, of his Spider-Man, of his Iron Man. Did you know that Iron Man, before he came out as Iron Man, was this billionaire playboy philanthropist? Do I know what a philanthropist is? Well, I learned from knowing about the comics. It's like these are the things that we hold on to.
Kind of at the beginning, you talked about having a love for, the comics and, superheroes and these things from,
Yeah.
early on. I noticed through some of your credits that you've done a lot of projects that are in those worlds. Is that
Yeah.
intentional?
It's never intentional, but it's always appreciated. It's especially in the earlier stages of any career, you go out for what's available and the opportunities that come across your desk. And I was just blessed enough to do the right things to end up on some of these shows because I'm already a massive fan, which just makes the character that much more fun and exciting to play. And being here based in Vancouver right now, there's a ton of those shows that are
Yeah.
currently being cast out of here. So I think I've been lucky enough to be in the place where a lot of the work is done. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
A little bit of a silly question.
No such thing. What's up?
but we have to do it.
All right.
If you could have any superpower.
I already know it.
Okay, hit
You
me.
have to finish it. I already know it. I have two answers.
Okay.
One is a practical one, and one is they're both pretty awesome. Okay. First one is teleportation.
Okay.
Because as you know, I am kind of scatterbrained sometimes and mix up times of places that I have to be. And rather than rushing or speeding, I can just, bam, I'm somewhere else. It's great for travel. If I felt like being in France, I'd be in France right now. And with all my heart and all the honesty that I can say is I would rob a bank and I would set myself up and set up my family for success and I'd never get caught. And I think that's beautiful. Not saying I'd be a bad guy or anything, because like I don't need a ton of it, but in all honesty, teleportation. And then number two, I would love to be able to understand every single language, including sign language. I think that's a superpower in itself, is communication amongst human beings. And so much discourse in this world happens from lack of communication or misunderstandings. I think translators have some of the coolest and most important jobs at every level. So I would love to know every language that there is.
Those are great answers. Those are really good ones. I mean, you'd be set. You'd have an interesting life for sure, right?
Definitely.
That is awesome. And do you have any upcoming projects other than Helstrom? Anything else coming up for you?
I currently, I have a project called Accused and on the Run that we actually that just recently started shooting. And I play a really cool character on that named Kevin, he's different than a lot of the characters that I've played. I get to play one of those, cool computer hacker guys that help people get what they're trying to get. And without giving too much away, it's directed by a phenomenal director, up and coming director named Troy Scott, that I've worked with before. He's based out of here in Vancouver. And anytime I get to work with him, I'm always just excited for the finished product. So yeah, that's the latest and greatest, I'm thinking. I mean, outside of that, just off the top of my head, there's also another project called Wind Song. It was directed by Christy Will Wolf, who's I got to work with the first time this year. It was actually one of the first productions that was going in the city after COVID. And I was lucky enough to kind of get on that project. And it's one of those like sort of feel good movies. I play a husband that helps my wife's sister kind of find her guy. Without giving too much away. Yeah, just one of those like fun feel good movies.
Well, thank you again, Hamza, so much for taking the time to talk with me today. It was really a lot of fun.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And then just before we go, would you like to tell everyone where they could find you on social media?
Yes. You can find me on Instagram at hamza.foo at however Instagram works / handle hamza.fou.
You got it. Yep.
Ashley, thank you so much for your time. This has been fun. And a little side note, this is the first one of these interviews I've ever done. And yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Little side note, this is the first one we've done for the site. So we're having a great day. This is fantastic. That's awesome.
Great.
Cool. Thank you so much, Hamza. We appreciate it.
All right. All the best.